Hey, I am your host today, Conesy with the most. I'm joined today by...
Hey, I'm Suzanne.
And we are also joined by our special guest.
Hi, I'm Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
How are we doing?
We're
You're probably
good.
like, hey, it's Dave. Well, I'm Dave from Paverson Games. I'm not just some Dave.
They're just
Although that'd be fine
random.
too, I guess. Some random Dave you found off the street.
I mean, maybe that's what we're doing now. Just the board games on the street, but no.
And when we say Dave from Paverson Games, we mean the Dave Beck, owner, creator of Distilled, professor, you name it, jack of all trades. How's it going? Yeah, things going real well over there?
Yeah, not bad. It's pretty crazy times. It's busy. It's the school year is off to a crazy start here. For those that don't know, I teach at University of Wisconsin Stout. So we're right into the couple weeks of the school year now. Of course, it's also a Kickstarter season too. So lots of stuff going on. We're also starting to prep for things like Essen as well. So it's a very busy fall, but I love fall for all those reasons. So.
Yeah, we're just getting off of or I should say we just got off of Gen Con. You've got to flip and turn around Essen right away, but it is peak convention season, peak Kickstarter season. And on top of that, when we're talking about Kickstarters, I hear that there is a new, I shouldn't just hear, I've had a chance to play it, but there is apparently a new expansion to this little game called Distilled that you made. You want to tell us what's going on with that?
Yeah, it's just you're right. You heard correct, Conesy. It's a teeny tiny expansion to a teeny tiny game called Distilled. So yeah, we made Distilled way back in, seems like forever ago, 2021. We kickstarted Distilled. And it was a phenomenal experience. We packed way more than we ever should have in the box, but that's why I think it made it such a great thing. And now we're back. It's 4 years later, and we're doing it again. And this time though, we're doing the same thing as far as an expansion that's also not teeny tiny. And we're also not we're also packing way too much into this expansion, and this expansion is cocktails. So Distilled Cocktails is the expansion, and we're back to Kickstarter with it. Crazy enough to think that it's been 4 years since we've done anything on Kickstarter with Distilled, but here we are.
Can't believe Distilled's been out for 4 years already. It seems like it
kind of. I mean, Kickstarted 21, and then it released in so. Because of the fact, again, with me being at a university, it's kind of like that's the side gig, right? So it's kind of like took a little bit of time, but you're right. It has been a while.
Yeah, well, I guess it just seems like there's, we're still like playing it and enjoying it as if it's like the hot new game a lot for us. So I think that's great. But yeah, so Cocktails, what is that going to change with the game? What's it going to add to us? What to it?
Yeah, so it's I like to always talk about it as four big things, four kind of key things. So again, for those out there that are used to getting an expansion for a game, usually, a publisher might say, "Oh, this expansion is going to add this new thing to the game, or these two new things." Well, I've got news for you folks. This is adding 4 things to the game. The first one is the one that's probably most requested. And I'll start with this one. We can chat about this. But the first one that's most requested that I hear from lots of people is what we like to call double washbacks. It's the second washback in the game. And for those new to Distilled, a washback is something where you dump all your ingredients into before you distill your recipe. And then once it's ready, it goes into the still and it brews and bubbles and eventually distills into the alcohol. And so by having 2 of these washbacks, that it basically implies that you're going to have 2 stills to be able to make 2 spirits in a single round. So now this allows players to actually craft 2 spirits in a single round. So we're really excited about that being kind of the foundation, if you will, upon which everything else in cocktails is going to be built upon.
Nice. So 2. So that means, you got that ability with the non-aged spirits to kind of have, do a couple. I don't know. I find that makes that more competitive.
Yeah, well, I found when I was playing it, it was really helpful on a turn. I made an aged spirit as well because I was able to still generate, like, make some vodka or moonshine, or actually, I think I made something a little bit even better than that. At the same time, I was making a whiskey at the same time. So it meant that I wasn't like destitute broke on the next turn. Of course, the mechanism I think that's used in having had a chance to play it, the mechanism used so that it's not there for you all the time, just as a freebie.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
There's a cost to it, so it's you have to make a choice, which is really, I love that strategic kind of decision making.
Yeah, and I'm glad you pointed that out because basically what happens is the first time you do it, it's not that expensive. It's only costs a couple bucks, two coin, to unlock your second washback. So like you said, it's not there all the time. It's actually by default locked. You can't use that second washback. When you do unlock it, when you pay to unlock it, you get a free alcohol as well. And so it gives you a little bit of boost to start moving down that direction. It doesn't mean you have to use it that round either. You can unlock it, and whenever you use it, though, that means then it's automatically after you use it, it's locked again. To unlock it again, you have to pay again to unlock it and use it. But now it's going to cost more. Every time it's going to cost a little bit more. Eventually, if you were to, and I've maybe seen one person, maybe 2, or 1 or 2 games use it 5 times, which essentially means you're making 12 spirits in the game. It costs 14 money to unlock your second washback a 5th time. So it's very expensive. The concept thematically is that your distillery has gotten so big, beyond you just making a second spirit, it's supposed to kind of represent this idea of you making lots of spirits. You're maybe Jim Beam, right? A Beam Distillery or Beam Suntory, where you're making so many spirits that you're really having to maintain a pretty big facility. So every time you do that, you need to pay more. But then the other thing that we tried to make very clear is that if, Conesy, for instance, you went to try and make a whiskey and let's just say a vodka, and you failed to make that whiskey and you ended up making 2 vodkas, we've also made it so that unfortunately, it's another element of pushing your luck. Because if you fail to make a whiskey and you make 2 vodkas, that gets combined into a single label again. So you are not making 2 vodka labels at that point. That you get to place 2 labels, because normally if you have 2 different spirits, a whiskey and a vodka, like you were just talking about, those are 2 different labels. One's going to be aged, one's going to be sold. You're going to get bonuses and money for one of them. But if the 2 of the spirits are the exact same, they're going to be combined into one batch. And so really, you need to be smart about how you plan out your turns and plan out those 2 separate distillations that you're going to.
I didn't think about it at the time when I was playing it, but that's a very good mechanism to prevent I'm going to spam vodka moonshine for cash.
Oh, yeah. You could, because otherwise, you could do exactly that. You could just dump tons into both and hope you get, or not, and just hope you get a bunch of, a moonshine or vodka, generate lots of income, and you might not score a lot of points, but you'll get enough money and just start dropping labels left and right. So that way you can't do that. So it really works well. And, again, thematically, it makes sense too. If we're going to be making lots of batches of the same thing, we're just going to be pouring that all in one giant, batch, if you will, anyway. So Yeah, it works. It works well, and it's kind of fun to think about it as a not nearly as maybe complex as the push your luck mechanism or mitigate your luck mechanism there is in the heads and the tails of the actual distillation. But there is something about, okay, well, I'm pushing myself here with two different washbacks. There's a chance they could both be the same thing, and there's a chance then I'm going to have to combine them. Do I really want to risk that, or do I want to play it safe one more round and not use the double washback this round and come back when I know I'm going to be sure that one of these, no matter what, is going to be a whiskey. The other one will be something else, but I'm sure, so it's an interesting kind of decision space players have to work with as well.
Yeah, it is. It adds a nice another level of complexity to it and what you're figuring out. So you said there's 4 things that's added. Yeah. So double washback is 1.
Double washbacks is 1. Of course, the name of the game is Cocktails. So that's a big one. So in the game now, people are listening, so you'll have to just picture this with me. I talked about this extra washback. The way this works is for my distilled fans, you can picture your player board, washbacks on the left. In the new expansion, you're going to add another washback on the right. So it's kind of a mirrored side of your board. The way you do that, though, is that not only are you adding this washback to your board, but attached to the washback is also a cocktail bar. And so now in your distillery, you've expanded it to also not only have a place for your warehouse to age your spirits and an area for upgrades to your distillery, but also a cocktail bar that can hold up to 2 different cocktails, different recipes that you would be orders, if you will, be crafting. So we now have a cocktail bar. We have a market of cocktails that you can obtain that are out in the center of the table. And when you purchase one of those cocktail orders, it comes back to your bar. But not only does it come back to your bar as a card that sits in your bar, but also, depending on how much you've paid for that order, you are also going to get a number of mixers, which are a new type of ingredient in the game. That you're going to be pulling from a refrigerator that's a little refrigerator board that's in the center of the board table. So if I buy a cocktail for 3 coins, I get to take 3 mixers from this offer, this pile that's kind of pre-set out there. If I buy it for 4, I get 4, and so on. And those are kind of pre-generated based on some dice that you're rolling and you see ahead of time. So it's not all luck. And those, you're always kind of seeing what's coming down the road. And so there's this element of trying to kind of play what you see in the market of cocktails against what you see in the mixer fridge, as well as, though, those cocktails, of course, are real cocktails that are based on real cocktails that require spirits from your distillery. So again, getting back to that whiskey idea, if we wanted to make, let's say an old fashioned, not in Wisconsin, of course, require brandy. Actually, I will say, as an aside, only probably because the co-designer, I designed this with Richard Wood, developer for Distilled, co-designed this with me as well. But since I am from Wisconsin as well, we made sure that the old-fashioned cocktail card requires either brandy or whiskey. So grain or fruit sugars to make it. So each cocktail card requires a certain label that you need to have already made in your distillery. So the label needs to be sitting at the top of your board, and you are going to sign that label by placing a little miniature cocktail glass on it to that card. So basically saying, I've used this brandy or this whiskey. I'm turning in these mixers that the cocktail card requires to make this cocktail. So, and I'm going to get something I call Renown, which I'll talk about in a bit. That's one of the features in the game. So that's the second element of cocktails, is that you are making these different real cocktails based on, again, loosely based on the mixer ingredients that would actually go into that cocktail, and definitely based on the spirits that would go into them as well.
Yeah, it's a lot something to do with these spirits that you've distilled. It's kind of like the next step, in the game. You're distilling your spirits now. What do I use them for? Because not everyone just drinks tequila, straight. They, mix it and stuff.
Well,
so
I love the idea of adding cocktails to the game as well, because now I can just hope and pray that we get a tiki party expansion so we can get tiki mix of cocktails, and then maybe we get a one that plays on different old fashions. So you have the old fashioned expansion. So that'll be the future. The future seems to be infinitely expandable in small card packs, which is one of my favorite things that happened when I got my cast strength, was that, because that changed up distilled so much.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Well, I will say, Conesy, you'll be happy to know and see, and listeners of the podcast who haven't checked out the Kickstarter page, you better go over there right away and check it out, because you'll see that at a certain tier, along with your cocktails pledge, you can get your very own Paverson Games cocktail umbrellas that come with it. So you can pop those suckers right into your cocktail glass. That might end up coming with the cocktail shaker as well, just in shaker too. So we're definitely trying to help you theme up your game night a little bit. With some fun decorations too.
Nice, very nice.
That sounds like a lot of fun. We'll have to definitely have to play. We have a game day that we help organize a couple Sundays a month at local distillery, and Distilled is a big hit there. But I bet we're gonna have to do something with them before when the cocktails expansion's out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they love Distilled enough that it's now in the permanent in-store board game collection as well. So
I love it.
Yeah,
love it. Yeah, we're also going to. We haven't revealed them yet, but we're going to be working with our spirits consultant. So in the original Distilled, we worked with a guy named Blake. He's phenomenal. He actually he goes by Dr. Inkwell, and he is a mixologist, just an amazing guy, knows so much about spirits. But really he knows most of what he knows is about cocktails. And he's based out in San Francisco, and he is going to provide us with a handful of kind of custom crafted cocktail recipes for the rule book, to include in the rule book of Distilled, that will be like created by him for Distilled, for cocktails, for Paverson Games. So, specifically, like you said, it could be maybe used at the distillery game night and other things too. So we're really excited about that too.
Oh, that's really exciting.
Hopefully with easily attainable ingredients for
exactly
cocktail makers. So
Yep, exactly.
I do some pretty exotic stuff personally, but it's still like when you make up a batch of whatever syrup or this or that, you tend to have a fairly large batch and never able to use it all.
Oh, we can fix that.
Right.
Anyway, so what else we got?
Yeah. So number 3, I'll hop over to, we'll come back to cocktails and kind of how they play into another big feature, because I'll hop over to another really neat element that is also card based. So the cocktails is one pretty big feature that is card based in the game. And then another really neat feature that is brand new is what we call collectors. In fact, for a while we were thinking about naming the expansion cocktails and collectors, or collectors and cocktails. Collectors are individuals. The card simply is a picture of an individual who is meant to look like they have quite a lot of money to spend, discerning tastes on fancy spirits from all around the world. And the concept here doesn't have anything to do with the cocktails, but instead they're just looking for really nice spirits, really high-end, high point value spirits. So let's go back to that whiskey again as an example. Let's say you let that sucker age in your warehouse. It's a silver tier recipe, right? So whiskey is a silver tier. For those that aren't aware, Distilled has multiple tiers of different types of spirits that are essentially meant to be, I guess you could say, quality. So you've got bronze, silver, and gold. And so whiskey is thought of as kind of that middle tier. And it ages, so it's required to be aged. Well, there's collectors that are looking for bronze, silver, and gold, and even signature, which are really kind of unique. Only each distiller can only make one of these. They're looking for these specific types of spirits. And they're looking for not only specific ones like a silver tier recipe and maybe a gold tier, one of them might be, but also a certain point value or higher. So one of them might be looking for a silver tier recipe that's at least 11 points or higher, or at least 14 points or higher. And so when you sell a spirit, you can check to see, oh, look, my whiskey is 14 points or 15 points. You can check the collectors, and if any of them are looking for a silver whiskey spirit and is looking at that or higher, you can essentially sell it to them, which means the money on their card you get, which is not too much, but a few money. But most important, there's a token on that card. And you can grab that token. It's a little square token. And you can place it on your board next to the label that you just quote unquote sold to them. And by placing that label or that token on your board, what that means is it's going to apply only to you, because that collector is essentially kind of gifted that to you. That little token is always going to be connected to end game bonuses. So that token might say something like 2 points for every Europe-based spirit label on your distillery board at the end of the game, or 1 point for every grain-based distillery spirit label. And so it's a new type of end game scoring strategy that you can go for in the game. And again, though, we have 4 or 5 of these laid out at the table, and each on the table, and each one has 2. So you have lots of the different options to choose from that players are all trying to grab for, like all trying to go for. So, Suzanne and I might be going for one at the same time because we both have a Pisco we're trying to make, or both have a silver that we're trying to make, and both are eyeing the same collector. So really kind of interesting strategies come out, especially for those that are trying to go for some end points with the collectors. And I don't know if either of you got a chance to play around with the collectors at all.
You took advantage of it more than I did.
It was nice to have that additional goal to try and focus on and see how good of a certain type of spirit I could make versus just making it for the label.
Yeah, totally.
Just trying to get it up there. Okay, maybe I'm going to wait another round before I make, this spirit, because I need, 3 more ingredients to make sure I'm going to get up to that point. And
yeah. And the trick
So
though is, you got to be careful, because if someone else, you got to look around the table, is someone else trying to maybe thinking about making that same test of tier spirit, because then you need to worry about, well, are they going to grab it before me? So
right. It does force you to pay a lot more attention to what other players are taking from the market and what cubes they've got for recipes, where you did a little bit of that with the different awards and stuff before, but it's like just that much more. So I like adding that in there.
Yeah, that's a big part with the collectors, and with this next element that I'll talk about in a second, are 2 areas that we really have tried to encourage a little bit more of player interaction. Not heavy, right? So it's never heavy player direct with Distilled. It's more passive, but really tried to encourage a little more interaction with players for sure.
Yeah, so it's definitely nice having it be able to not be a solo game that you play with other people, and just having, like you said, that light passive interaction. Because it's just nice, and when you're playing a game with other people, you want to interact with them.
Yeah, exactly.
So, or at least I do, I guess. Maybe some people don't, but I like to interact with people I'm gaming with.
No, I think Distilled does that really well. When you get people to the table that are able to interact and have a good time without necessarily having the you destroyed my location on the map, or you destroyed all of my troops, or you
take that
did something.
There's
Although, I mean, there is a certain amount of like maybe hate market purchasing that might happen.
Anything about that? Don't know what you're talking about.
Or particularly like even on like Board Game Arena, seeing the grain sugar spirits in particular can be quite competitive in that market, both on types of spirits. Like we mentioned, whiskey.
Yeah,
those whiskey labels can go really fast and be really hyper competitive because grain sugars are cheap.
So, all right. So what's the fourth one?
Fourth one, and I actually I'm going to have to correct myself and say 4.5. So, but I'll do fourth.
Okay.
Fourth one is the Renown map. So the Renown map is a new board in the center of the board, as if we didn't have enough already. I keep joking. I should have a new pledge tier that's like a table. You get a table with the game too.
Right.
But the Renown map is a location where everybody kind of comes together if they're participating in cocktails, making cocktails. If you're not making cocktails, there's a chance you're not doing fine. I'll get to why that is fine in a second. But the Renown map happens when you make cocktails, because when I make a cocktail, if I make that old fashioned, I don't get points. There is no points on that card. What is on that card is something called Renown. There's little icons for stars. And when I make that cocktail, I see how many stars I get, and I take that many tokens off a little board I've got of my own, of these little tokens that are stacked up. There's 4 stacks of 4, so 16 tokens total. They're these little kind of plastic stackable deals. They're almost like round Legos, if you will. And I place them out on this map, this world map. I have to start in my distiller's region. So if I'm from the Americas, I have to start somewhere in the Americas. And every time I place one down on an empty spot, I get the little goodie that I cover up. So it might be a new cocktail mixer. It might be a grain sugar, a basic grain. It might be a yeast or an alcohol or a money or a point. Lots of little basic stuff. But every time I do put one down, I get that thing. I always have to have them connected. The thematic concept here is that I'm spreading my fame, essentially my renown, around the world for my cocktails, and for just my general my general renown of being a distillery, as word is spreading around the world about me, my cocktails, my distillery, my spirits I'm making. And why this is important is because not only, sure, I'm getting these goodies, but at the end of the game, depending on what I'm occupying around this world, I'm going to get points. We can stack on top of each other. It's not about me grabbing land and controlling land from you. But the first one there obviously gets the goodie. Nobody else does. So if you get on top of me, you also occupy that space. You just don't get the thing that was there when I did. And if I have renown in each region of the 4 regions, I get points. If I have a lot of renown in one region, I get points. So there's lots of ways. If I want to saturate the Americas, I'm going to get points that way, or spread all over the world, I'm going to get points, or a little bit of both. So it's a really great way to get your fame out to the world. But then while you're doing that, you're spreading your renown, you're clearing this little board in front of you as well. And as you clear that board, at the end of the game, the more spots that you clear, the more a multiplier is going to happen for the cocktails you make and the diversity of glasses. So just like the bottle set collection that you get in base distill, this time, if I'm able to get the 4 different types of cocktail glasses in the game, so if I make 4 different cocktails and they have 4 different glass types, I'm able to multiply that 4 or 3 or 2 or 1 by up to 4 different revealed 1 point spirit point spots on my renown board. So I could technically, if I'm just like Tom Cruise in cocktails and I'm slinging them all over the place and I spread my renown all over the map, I could get up to 16 points right there. So it can be a very good strategy to spread your renown out around the map if I decide to choose to kind of lean into cocktails very hard.
You were all over the map when we played, so
I
had a lot of cocktails, but I was not all over the place.
I had a great time trying and exploring how that map worked, and those little like they're basic like bonuses, right? It might be a money, like you said, it might be just an alcohol, but those really help. Like those to just fill up your deck for the next time you're going to distill. Let you buy that one more thing. So it is a nice little thing to aspect of the game to explore. But you mentioned that you don't have to focus on cocktails.
Yeah.
Like
so
you could just
Yeah. So the thing is, and let me tell. Actually, I'm glad you asked me that, Suzanne, because I'll talk a little bit about that 4.5, that 0.5. The thing I didn't mention is what you'd probably find in most any expansion out there is more stuff of everything else. So we've got new upgrades, we've got new ingredients. The ingredients are cool because when you buy an ingredient in the new expansion, it actually gives you a discount immediately to buy something above or below it in the market. We've got new items, we've got new awards, we've got new goals, we've got new solo mode, we've got new distillers, so we've got new everything. And I say all that. In fact, one other thing we have new in the is that every single new card has a forklift icon on it, and when it goes into the truck, it automatically lifts up the card behind it as well, so it speeds along the market because we've got so many cards now in the expansion with the expansion added too. Now, I say all that because we have found, and I like to describe this. I've described it this way a couple times, and I feel like it does a pretty good job as an analogy. We've found, or at least I've always found, with distilled base game, I love playing it. People enjoy playing it, and it's almost like we're all racing down, like an 8-lane highway together towards the end. I might be racing fast or in a big truck. You might be in a little zippy car weaving around lanes. We're all going to the same place, kind of roughly the same strategy, maybe taking a couple turns, but for the most part, we're kind of going in the same direction. With cocktails, now there's like 3 or 4 different off-road paths that take you off into the country, and I might not see you again for half the trip because the strategy you take could be wildly different than mine. I might stay on the main highway and beef up my V8 engine and double washbacks and just go long haul, straight double washbacks the whole time, while you might really not focus as much on that and just invest all your money, and this is the key, invest all your money into cocktails. While Conesy might say, no, I'm actually going to invest my money into just those collectors, because then at the end of the game, I'm going to have like 4 or 5 of those collectors tiles, and I'm going to get 20 or 30 points just from those, right? Because I've just like figured out how to do it. So, but you can't do it all fully because of that, where in base cocktails, not that you could do it all, but in base cocktails, it was a little bit more obvious as far as what maybe the best strategy would be for that game, even though you might need to pivot a little bit and play kind of a tactical game. Now, these are very divergent strategies that you really need to kind of make a decision about, which I've found is very fun and a very different type of game, because now I can go into one game and say, you know what, because of the distiller I have, I'm going to play a cocktails heavy game, and I'm not going to really pay attention to the collectors. I'm going to go to the renown map. I'm going to focus on, I didn't even talk about those tiles there you can pull off and put on your mat too. Or nope, I've got a distiller that does collectors. I'm going to focus on that. So it's kind of really fun to see these different opportunities that emerge for players to be able to focus on a little bit more with this new expansion.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely going to make this game better. And I think as we were playing it, it's already a great game, by the way. While we were playing it, I was thinking about how some of the distiller identities that I don't necessarily think are as good in base game distilled, or even distilled with the Middle East and Africa, or even cask strength added in, are maybe a little weaker, I can see like, ooh, this one could be really strong now if I went double washback, or if I did this or that while I was playing with the, I guess, prototype cocktails version that was at Gen Con. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to change and evolve the game after I've got a dozen plays with cocktails in the mix.
Definitely.
Yeah. It's just fun that you can have your personality also kind of come through. Like if you are someone who is more intrigued by cocktails than, and how those are going together than barrel or, aging other spirits and sitting there and you're not as patient maybe.
Yeah.
You can be competitive in a whole different way and almost have a different game than someone else. So
totally.
Your gaming can also fit your personality, I bet, more.
And how that's going to change with the recipe boards that you mix in. If you're playing a balanced play recipe board versus maybe an aged spirits board, how that's going to change it as well. Because the timing starts to get disrupted if you're doing, like, if it's majority aged spirits versus, or maybe non-aged spirit boards, like that might be really interesting to kind of see how it changes.
All those people that have the game like figured out, like every time I play recipe card A or B, this is how I'm going to play it. It's going to like break that. And they're going to have to figure it all out again.
That's right.
It'll be a little leveling mechanism for people.
I'd have gotten a little farther in the BGA tournament if I wouldn't have clicked the couple of wrong things for my smartphone instead of being at my computer. It just serves me right for not being at my computer every time I made a move on that. But yeah, exactly. That is exactly the. I think the idea here is it changes. It really changed the gameplay experience. Not to change the game, although there are a lot of. This is the first time I've experienced an expansion to Distilled that it really changed. It adds more rules. Really adds more rules. Like the other expansions, like people ask me when I'm running Distilled and I at conventions, and I just ran it at Strong Tower, and I got to ask this question. What's the difference between in the expansions that are added? Well, I'm like, and which ones should I get? I'm like, well, let me describe. The Middle East and Africa expansion is basically just more Distilled. It's just more cards and a new region. It's very easy to add in. In fact, you would once you add it in, you'll probably never take it out because it's not worth the bother.
Yep.
And a lot of the cards that it adds are really neat, nice, unique cards that give you just a little bit extra flair, a little ability. And then I'm like, the cast strength, like that little box changes the game quite a bit, and it's modular in the way you add it, but at the same time, nothing in that little box is like, oh my goodness, I'm having to learn crazy new mechanics that are hard to learn. Whereas
they're not hard to learn, they're just different than what you're used
Cocktails adds a lot of new stuff and throws it at you pretty quickly, and that's really exciting, and it's really good to hear that it's also in quite a way modular, so that you can pick and choose how you want to add that to your game, and make the game different. As well as, I'm very curious how it will play when you add in things like the stuff from cast strength, like with variable markets, etc., and see how that changes it as well.
Yeah. We wanted to be sure to have it so that for people that are, asking for that second washback and also a little bit hesitant about the ad, we've set it up in the rules as well as the back of the double washback, the second washback. We've set it up so that you can add it to just play the second washback, and that can be all you add. And we recommend you maybe consider that for your first time, especially if you're not the type that if you're the type that plays heavier games, games far heavier than Distilled, then you're fine. You can add it all. But if Distilled's one of the more complicated games have in your collection you play, then I'd highly recommend that you start with just the double washbacks and see how that goes. And in the rules, we have it set up that way, and then move on. Once you are enjoying that, then maybe give the rest a try because it's a nice step up. People, double washbacks already is a nice challenge. Even figuring out, oh man, how am I going to get enough for doing this 2 or 3 times? That can get pretty expensive. So yeah, we really tried to make that happen. And yeah, we've tested it out with some of the expansions, and just like you said, Africa, Middle East is easy to integrate, and cast strength, it works just fine. We also are going to be, but also again, with that variable market can make it a little bit trickier at times, but also a boon sometimes, depending on what you're making. Another thing I forgot to mention is we're shipping, let's see, is it 12, 20? I want to say it's 18 to 20 replacement cards. So these are going to be cards that are going to come in the Cocktails expansion that will permanently replace the cards from the base game of Distilled. They will not change at all your game in Distilled, like when you play, but the wording changes it so that they will affect it when base games. So that way they don't break it. They're not broken when they play in Cocktails. So we also have that as well. Sure to do that.
Gotcha.
Basically things like the Master Blender from who's on the cover of the box. The original Distilled, great card in the original game, but we found very quickly that she broke everything. She was like the most powerful card ever in Cocktails until we fixed her. So now it's works on both ends. So that kind of thing is a good example. Some of the things we've had to do to fix things just because of our cards that have so many unique elements. And frankly, we weren't even thinking of Cocktails as expansion when we designed Distilled. So
right. Yeah, no, that's cool. So this tell us about the Cocktails, the campaign. What should we expect? How long is it going to run? All that good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're listening to this, it's live right now. You can hop over to the page and see it. It is going to be up until October 2nd. So it's we've deliberately made it a little bit of a shorter campaign. And it is specifically just for our fans. It is not something that we're going whole hog offering Luthier. You can't get Luthier campaign. You can get it later. So for those listening that didn't know, we also created Luthier last year. You can get it later in the Pledge Manager, but this is all about Distilled and it's all for our fans. So what that means is that there's a normal pledge level that will be basically what you'd find, or it is what you find in retail. So if you're really just looking for the cocktails and what you'd find on the shelf, and you just want to get it earlier before retail, then you can get it here and you can get a little discounted as compared to retail. And then on top of that, you can also get a free promo pack that we're giving to everybody. And that's our kind of base tier. And then that promo pack that everybody's going to get is actually a 20 card promo pack. I haven't talked about this yet, so I forgot to mention this earlier. This 20 card promo pack probably should be called a mini expansion, really. But
I was going to just say that's a lot.
Well, I remember what I was just saying. Like I just can't help myself just like pack things in all the time. So this is interesting. So it's not connected to cocktails. I mean, it's distilled, but it's not connected to cocktail. I mean, we're offering it as part of the cocktails campaign, but it technically you could get just this. I mean, you can't because you need to get it to be a part of cocktails, but you could just play this with base distilled. We're calling this year one. 15 of the cards is year one, and 5 of the cards we're calling right now we're calling prestigious distilled upgrades. But the 15 cards at year one is meant to simulate the first round of distilled. One of the other comments that we've gotten oftentimes from fans is, could we just skip round one? Does round one really have to happen? Could we, I just make vodka or moonshine every time. I mean, I don't know why I even play round one. Well, I've got other fans, many fans that say, no, round one is crucial. I know exactly what I'm going to get, and I need to plan my strategy, and it's quick anyway. It's important. So we decided, you know what, we're going to make this year one. So it's very much like taking a page out of Terraforming Mars Prelude's book. And what this is this was originally conceived by one of our Discord members, and then we play tested it some, and then we took it and we kind of crafted it and designed it and developed it is today. Each player will get dealt 3 cards. On those cards is a little story about kind of how you went in this first year. And then, but most importantly, of course, is a label, either a vodka or moonshine label, some money, basically simulating the ingredients that you would have pulled off the top and the bottom, and then something that would be equivalent to a label bonus. So, and that's where maybe it would be money, maybe it would be an upgrade, not a specific one, but just an upgrade from the row, an item. So basically it simulates something like that. But then you also still get to place your label somewhere and get something as well. So it's essentially this concept that it's things you would have been able to do in the first round, but done very quickly. And then and all players pick one of those in player order very quickly. They choose their thing. And for the most part, there's only a couple of them that actually need to actually choose something. Then players place their labels in player order, and then you start round 2. So the concept is that since cocktails takes a little longer, it's about 10 player, I'd say, because of the cocktails phase for experienced players. If people want to play with you, they can get started right away in round 2. But again, not everybody will want to do that, and they can just set the year 1 cards aside. But they're all going to get it for free when they back the campaign. And then the other thing they're going to get is 5 prestigious upgrades. These are going to be just for fun. Our backers are going to be the ones that are going to nominate and vote on what these are going to be, and then Eric's going to draw them. And these are going to be a new thing that we're going to have put out in the game that essentially will be a stack of cards face up that will be caught. Basically, there'll be distillery upgrades that you can buy just like normal, but they're not going to be the market. They're going to be off to the side. And the top one, and there'll be pure points, game end points. So it's very much not really, it's nothing new as far as mechanic. It's more for fun. But let's say I am someone that is, just cranking out lots of I don't know, vodka and moonshine. And I'm making lots of spare money. I could spend that money on a really prestigious upgrade and install that into my distillery. And that's going to be worth a lot of points at the end of the game, much more than I'd just be able to, exchange that money for points. And then once I buy that top one, the next one, of course, is worth a little less, but also, or costs a little less, but also worth less points as well, as far as the money to point ratio. So again, another, fun optional module if people want to play with. So both of these are very optional, not really heavy at all. Game centric mechanical types of thing, but more just fun things that people can add to the game if they want to.
Cool. Like that sounds like it's just gonna, like you said, it's just gonna add something fun, something different to play with the game. And I'm a huge fan of Terraforming Mars, and I would never play it without the Prelude expansion on there, because it does jumpstart. It gets you through those first couple bits. And so something to get through some of that basic round, like round 1 is usually the round where all the new players are learning how to play. Yeah. So experienced players, like you said, don't always need that. So
I mean, I'm a big fan of round 1, but I could see using it. I could see using that in a game.
We'll use it.
Yeah, so. It's fun to give it a try, and I'm excited. Blake's going to be the one that's going to be writing the flavor text. He wrote all the flavor text for most of the cards in the base game. I wrote some, and then he kind of filled in behind, and so I've asked him to write all the flavor text for these distillery year 1 cards. And I thought, well, this will be fun, because basically you'll still have your distillers, and you'll then have these year 1 cards. And I think it's going to be so fun to be like, okay, I've got this distiller I chose, and this year 1 story. It's almost going to be this new kind of role-playing fun thing. Matching these 2 things together will be kind of neat, So
that will be cool.
I think so.
All right, so we got that.
Yeah.
What else
Oh
we
my
got
gosh,
with the
didn't even get started.
Kickstarter?
So that's the base. So of course, some people might do that, but then we expect, and that's going to be right around $49. So we want to make that something that's accessible for people. If I didn't mention this yet, the expansion alone has over 450 components. So the expansion has over 450 pieces. The expansion might have more pieces. I don't think it has more pieces than Distilled did, but it almost does. It's ridiculous. It's like bigger than any expansion that I think I've ever owned. So anyway, that's at 49. The thing we expect probably most Distilled fans to consider getting is the next tier up, and that's what we're calling the Collector's Cask. The Collector's Cask is going to be at 99, and what this will be is, of course, it's cocktails. You get the expansion, but you get it inside a box that looks like a cask. It looks like a barrel that will sit on your shelf, because that barrel will hold your entire Distilled collection. Because everybody is asking, wait a minute, this thing is not going to fit. How is this going to fit in the Distilled base game? It's like, of course it's not going to. Have you looked at that box? It's stuffed full. There's no way anything. The promo pack won't even fit in the Distilled base game at this point. Let alone
I've got those 4 punch boards that are sitting at the bottom of my box.
Saved for this. That's right. Yeah, that's why I should have a joke. Remember those guys? Take them out. That's all you've got room for cocktails. Yeah. So this collector's cask is really cool. I had this idea. It hit me a while ago. Like, wait a minute, I can have this so that it looks like a barrel aging on your own shelf. So it's the front of the barrel, the sides of the barrel. You pull it out, it's the top of the barrel. So it's a 3D barrel. I mean, obviously, but from the side, it's the side of the barrel. From the top, it's the top of the barrel. From the barrel, we've got new trays, but we're going to have you take your trays from Distilled. So you're going to use your awesome barrel-shaped tray and your 2 little tray-shaped trays. Bring those over, as well as some brand new trays we've got. And those will all go into the cask, as well as obviously all the cocktails. And then in addition to that, you're also going to get a little cocktail shaker, a small one, that is going to be for dice. Because there's dice in this game, and you're going to be able to shake your own dice that kind of look like ice, and shake those and pour those out whenever you need to. So it's a custom designed Distilled dice ice shaker that will also come and can store in it too. So not only will your entire Distilled collection, including all sleeved cards, all expansions, and the playmat, and the premium market playmat will also fit in this, and the dice shaker, everything will fit into this cask. And so that's the level we assume most people probably want to get. So we're really excited about that. And then obviously
you said it's like 4 feet tall, 3 feet wide.
We will, a FedEx delivery person will roll it to your doorstep. You will be required to age it for 20 years before you can open it and play it. That's a requirement. It's actually not. I mean, it's big. I wish I had the exact measure. It's I want to say. I need to start remembering, but it's basically, it's the width of it's about the width of Distilled.
Okay.
It's probably, it'll fit on a calyx. It's probably close to the depth of Luthier and the width of, maybe the depth of Luthier, the width of Distilled, and maybe a little taller. Maybe it's not 2 Distilled stacked on top of each other, but almost. But anyway, it's easily going to fit on a shelf. It's not as big. Actually, I probably shouldn't say this. It's not as big as I was hoping it would be. I was hoping it was going to be bigger, so it would really be like a full big barrel on the side. It's kind of like a barrel nested in it. It still looks great. It's a nice big beauty. And Eric's done an amazing job illustrating this thing. You'll see it on the page. And again, like I said, it's got lots of inserts or lots of different trays in it. 2 new dedicated trays for cocktails alone, plus all the ones from Distilled that you'll bring over, or the 3 from Distilled you'll bring over, plus 2 new trays as well. So a new card tray, a new kind of mid-level tray, 2 brand new cocktails trays that are kind of fancy. One looks like a tiki glass, and one looks like an old-fashioned glass. So those will be fun too. So lots of fun kind of stuff to put into your cask.
Nice.
So that's the level that has me intrigued, but I am sure you have a level that is take all of my money and maybe a kidney that I'm probably going to be backing, or I should say probably. I have already backed.
Maybe so. Actually, I didn't go too crazy with this one. We do have one more level that is a little higher, that has everything I just said, plus a couple other fun upgrades. Jeez. So what we have one more level that goes a little higher than, and essentially what it does is it takes you from that what I just mentioned, plus it turns a few of the things into. So right now there's some cool little wooden tokens in the game that are, I was talking about unlocking your washback. Well, you move this little key across a board to say, I've unlocked my washback this level. Now I've unlocked my washback this level. Well, you can make these actual metal keys that you move across. So that's one thing. We also have a thing that you can flip on your board that essentially tells when your washback is unlocked or not, and that will be an enamel metal token as well. So that's one thing. Another thing I'm excited about is that in the base game, or in the expansion, the mixer tokens are these cool icons that Eric designed, 6 of them that are just really neat, colorful looking icons of like cherries and umbrellas and orange juice pitchers and those types of things that imply ingredients I would maybe mix into my cocktails. And so those are things I'd punch out in the expansion. And so we'll have those as upgraded acrylic, kind of heat transfer acrylic, colorful acrylic tokens for this upgrade, which will be nice. So that's another one. On top of that, we're working on one thing that I don't want to mention yet because I'm not sure yet if it's going to happen. It's going to be down the wire. So stay tuned, folks. If it happens, I hope it does. So if you're listening to this, check the page to see if there's something else that I didn't mention tonight and see. And if not, don't post in the comments, Dave, you mentioned this. Where is it? Because I'm not going to be able to say it if it's not there. I'm sadly be defeated. But another thing that we'll have for sure, I mentioned earlier, 2 things, is we're going to have real cocktail shaker. So remember I just talked about a dice tumbler, basically like a dice tumbler shaker that will look like a cocktail shaker, but small, like a toy, plastic. That will be just something that you'll get at a lower tier, but at the higher tier, you'll get that plus a real stainless steel cocktail shaker with Paverson that's etched on the side. So if you want to make real cocktails, you'll get that, as well as a set of about 50 cocktail umbrellas that will have our logo printed on them too. So you can have a fun theme tonight. So those will come with it too. So some gameplay, nothing gameplay related, but some upgrade for the game stuff, upgrade for just game night, cocktail night stuff as well. So that's that's 150. So not too much, or 149. So it's not too much more.
It's not much at all.
Yeah, so that's that one. And again, I said we're doing this for the fans. I didn't want to make this too expensive. I felt at the end of the day, I just wanted to do stuff to thank all the fans for being so amazing with Distilled over the years. And then I do have one more that you're not going to, seriously, no joke, I'm not going to pull your leg here, because you already have it. These are the people that might be brand new to Distilled. There might be a handful of people out there that said, I've heard about this Distilled thing. What is this? So we call this the Distillery Inheritance. And this is for the person that has never heard of Distilled, knows nothing about it, wants to kind of get into that too. and that's for people that really want to kind of go all in, and that's for around $300. Then they can kind of dive in and get everything. They can get all the distilled, get the base game, and kind of try and catch up to all of us who have been part of the Distilled Club for a long time. Little do they know, I was looking back at the old Kickstarter, and I couldn't, I think the signature blend, which was the original Kickstarter that we got all our deluxe items. I think I had that for like $85. It's crazy now to like we got like the coins, everything in the original Kickstarter, and now that's how much I sell the game for. So it's kind of crazy to think like how crazy it was back then, because at the time I didn't think I'd be doing any of that. I thought that we'd raise maybe, I was hoping we'd raise $50,000 on Kickstarter, and little did I know that we'd raise 10 times that. So it was crazy times how far we've come. So again, that's why I keep saying this is a thank you to our backers, and I want to give back to them and show them how much we appreciate how much they've done, just like you all have done to spread the love of Distilled to people all around.
It's an amazing game, and I mean, it's one I think everyone should check out. It's been just so much fun to play, and as you were describing, like all the little add-ons for the top tier of the Kickstarter for cocktails, I'm thinking, I can't wait to see what people start posting, what fans start posting, as that they're drinking or making while they're playing the game.
That's my hope. Exactly.
It's been great, always like seeing what people are drinking when they're doing just distilled base game and how fun that is. And now when you add the cocktails in, it's a fun little community almost that you've developed around this game.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I do remember after that original interview, before Distilled hit Kickstarter, and we were talking post-interview about, going to Kickstarter and not knowing how it was going to go. And I remember telling you that I thought you had something that was going to hit it out of the park. And while I think I was very correct, I had no idea how well it was going to do. I did not in my wildest dreams think Distilled would just go and explode like it has.
Neither.
So, well done.
Thank you.
Now we've been talking for quite a while, and we do want to get things wrapped up. But before we wrap things up, I know you've announced a couple of new games that are coming soon. We've had a chance to play one of them, which we really enjoyed. But if you just wanted to give us maybe the quick $2 tour on what's coming, because there is more. This is what's coming now, but there is more coming very soon.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah. So this is what's coming now on Kickstarter. Coming next year, probably. So if people back in it, hopefully early summer, you'd be getting it in the mail, fulfilled. Now, what we have coming next year, though, on the horizon, first will be something coming to crowdfunding in the summer. So again, it wouldn't be coming to stores yet or coming to your door yet, but coming to crowdfunding is a game called Ringyo, Ringyo. It means it's translated to forestry from Japanese. Essentially set in feudal Japan. You're overseeing a province in Japan where you are essentially conducting sustainable forestry. You are growing trees, you are tending trees, you are planting trees, you are cutting trees down. You are trying to manage flooding as it rains in your province. You are building structures and farms and harvesting. You're doing all of this at your board where you are placing different samurai and other workers down to do different actions. But then all the while at the start of each round and at the end of each round, you are going into Edo, which is now Tokyo, and you are interacting with the other players around the board. At the start of each round, you are bidding against the other players for favor of the shogun in hopes of getting gifts from them, as well as getting a chance to go first in turn order later in the round. At the end of the round, you are hoping that you are first in order to be able to fulfill certain demands of the shogun. And so what's happening is You're interacting with players at the start and the end of the round. And in the middle of the round, you're kind of focused on tending your own province and managing it. So really interesting, kind of heady game where you are really trying to solve this puzzle in front of you that has equal parts worker placement that is simultaneous. So doing things all at the same time and kind of work while also doing a little bit of bidding, doing a little bit of public objective fulfillment as well. A little bit of resource management too, because when you cut these trees down, they're at different lengths and you're trying to build certain structures that require certain trees of certain length. So lots of really, really fun stuff involved there. The designer for this is Charlie McCarran. He designed Four Humors, as well as Lunar Skylines as well. The artist for this is Kwanchai Moria. We are, like I said, taking crowdfunding in the summer. So keep an eye out for that. We'll have it at Gen Con. We'll have it at Essen, UK Games Expo, if people want to play test it in person. And then obviously we'd hope to have it delivered to backers the following year. That is the big kind of heavier game that we'll have next year. We're also going to be releasing a thematic game that's more focused back in America. That's called Class of '89. That's going to be coming straight to our community first with pre-orders and then to retail. So no crowdfunding, and that'll be late next year. Class of '89 is set in the late 80s in high school in America on the yearbook team, yearbook staff, where you and other members of the yearbook staff are going out across the school essentially as workers, going to different locations in the school, taking photographs of students and activities and bringing them back to your yearbook spread, which is in front of you. So you basically have a big tableau in front of you, a board where you're putting your photos of your students down, hopefully in somewhat alphabetical order, and extracurriculars on another page. And you're trying to assign attribute tokens to them and trying to get adjacency bonuses. So there's a little bit of interaction with other, trying to kind of take things from them. But then there's also a lot of interaction trying to vie for certain points with objectives that everyone's trying to go for. So really thematic there. Corey Jordan is the designer for this. And Eric Evanson, who's the distilled artist and graphic designer, is also doing the artwork for Class of '89. So exciting times for Paverson Games both being released and crowdfunded next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And just having had a chance to play Class of '89, this is another one of those games when I saw you announce Luthier, I was like, Dave, what are you thinking? Luthier, who wants a game about classical instruments? And now it's blown up. This Class of '89, I was like, Dave, what are you thinking the second I saw this announced? And we got a chance to play it. And while, yes, it is a lighter game, there is a lot of thinking you're doing about how you're lining up your cards for your class on your yearbook board, how you're lining up.
It's like a big puzzle.
There's a interesting puzzle. Just the lighter, intro prototype version we got to play of what will be ultimately the complete game. Very excited to get this one to the table. I think the art, if the little bit of preview art that we saw at Gen Con is any indicator, I think there's going to be a lot of really awesome throwback art to classic 80s film and classic pop culture. So I'm really excited for that.
Yep. There's going to be lots of little Easter eggs and wink, wink, nod, nods in there too, for sure.
Yep. Excellent. No, that's going to be cool. We got so much to look forward to with your games.
Yep.
Absolutely. So Dave, absolutely thank you for being with us. We will have links to not only the Kickstarter for Distilled Cocktails on our blog in the show notes for this article, but a bunch of additional pictures of cocktails, both from our Gen Con experience as well as additional pictures that you might not find on the crowdfunding page, and additional information about Distilled, as well as like where our review is up on YouTube, and links to previous interviews about Distilled as well. So that we've had with Dave. So absolutely wonderful, Dave, talking to you. I know we've taken up more time than we originally planned, but as always, it's so much fun talking to you about board games and everything else that we chat about when we get together. So hopefully we can find time in your busy schedule to get together sometime in the not so distant future when some of these other games are a little bit closer to fruition.
For sure. Thanks, Conesy and Suzanne.
Thank you.
Right. And for all of you out there, thank you for listening, and have a good one. Till next time.
Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you leave a review of this show wherever your favorite place is to find podcasts. Oh, and by the way, give us a like on our Facebook page. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or Pinterest while you're at it. If you haven't looked recently, make sure you catch up on the blog at WiscoDice.com. Hey, Brian, what's that site?
Oh, darn. I forget. Justin, what's our website again?
WiscoDice.com.
That's right. It's WiscoDice.com. And until next time, everyone, peace out.